Hey, what's going on, everyone? Major here with the Majoration Podcast. As usual, I'm always bringing you great guests that's going to give you great insight, education, entertainment, a little humor, all the above. And today, I did not disappoint you. I'm bringing Maverick Bailey on board to talk about all things, and we're going to have a great couch conversation. Maverick, welcome to the Majoration Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I want to dive into a few different things, a few different topics. We just had a victory politically, um, and a lot of people are having. There's a lot of misinformation that's happening right now in regards to what the Trump
Mhm.
administration represents fiscally, economically for our country. One of the biggest things that I saw you talk on, which I've been hearing about, is the misconception of what tariffs represent and what they mean. Um,
Yeah, correct.
how beneficial is it to have a Trump administration versus a Harris administration, in your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of factors, and one of them is that for face value, I think that right now America needs their economy back for one. I feel like if Kamala would have won, we'd have been at our weakest point. And that was the time for everybody else, BRICS nations and everything else, to do what they need to do to be the next superpower, right? So, because they know Trump wasn't playing, they know that he was great with the military, he had no new wars, he was great with the financial system, and the economy overall. So that's one thing. Two, being that he's a businessman, right? He understands business, and this country, whether you like it or not, is a business first and foremost. Being commander in chief, you take care of the money and you take care of handling the duties of the military, right? And delegating, which a businessman does very well. And any successful business, I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, you know that you have to delegate correctly. You have to put people in place to do the things they need to do at a high level. And that's what he did. This is why he had and then people don't look into the facts when it comes to the unemployment rate. He had the lowest unemployment rate for blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and women. So all these things are why he's like, oh, he's a misogynist, he hates women and everything else. Well, he put dollars in your pockets too. So that's just a few things, and I have a long laundry list of other things as well, with tariffs and how the country used to be run on tariffs, and he's talking about taking out the income tax and all these other things. The Fed, which is a private entity we're paying taxes to, he knows this, and he wants to abolish that. So a long list of things, but for one, keep us safe, and two, get your money right, and that's the two things that he does well.
I love that. And so let's circle back. So give us a lowdown, a rundown in regards to your background, in regards to and what got you into this digital space of just really informing, people on what's going on and giving them the information that they probably don't have access to, especially if they are looking at mainstream media. Like what prompted you? Was there like a moment that you say, you know what, let me get into this space so I can kind of push back on some of this information? Like, was there a moment, or was it something you've always been a part of as far as sharing?
Yeah, I would say more so of, being an entrepreneur and just learning how business works and being in that field. Been in real estate for, over 12 years and whatnot, and just learning how economics work. That's the best teacher, is just doing it, having experience in that field. So I've always been in that space of, I love building businesses. I'm a serial entrepreneur and whatnot. And when Trump took office, that really showed me how to really run a business, because he ran the country like a business. And during that 4 years, man, I made so much money and a lot of other people made so much money. And that's the thing, like when you're making money, I'm not saying money solves all, but it does put you in a better position for quality of life, better health, education, time is a high luxury, so you have more time to do more things to elevate yourself, and that's what he provided. So I decided to start doing, digital content and content creation about 2 years ago, and I just had all this knowledge over the years that I've gained, and I wanted to educate people because what's happening right now, and I've said this over the past, I would say 6 months to a year now, the next war is going to be an information war because there's so much information coming at us every day, right? We have to decipher what is true, what is not, misinformation, fake news, what's real. We got AI now. We have all these things coming at us. So we have to see if there's a propaganda behind this information. Is it real? So I wanted to put my 2 cents in and put in my experience and knowledge out to the masses because there's a lot of that. We're in the age of information where you can learn anything. I call it the YouTube university. You can learn anything on YouTube, right? So, but at that same token, people are probably the laziest. People are probably the most misinformed at this point because there's so much information. They don't know what to believe. And they're just reading headlines. They're not going past the first page of the search engine of Google or whatever else. So that's what's happening. So I wanted to add my 2 cents, and I guess I got a great response, and people want to hear what I have to say. So that's kind of what happened.
No, that's great. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Obviously, you're connected to Stacy. Stacy did the podcast, and she turned me on to you and your content. And I was just like going through it. I was like, man, we are aligned on a lot of different things, but the way that you do it, and poke at people a little bit too, I can appreciate that as well. I think it's
Yeah, they
in.
need it.
I think it's ingenious, man. So I'm glad to find a page that kind of puts itself out there, but also truly informs people when they are so confidently wrong. We have a lot of people out there that are very confidently wrong. So it's pretty refreshing to come across a page like yours. On the business aspect of it, understanding finance, tech, and things of that nature, I did come across something about you creating a new search engine. Can you kind of walk us through that process and how far you are from that? Is it an ideal, a concept, or is there a release date for that coming really soon?
Yeah. So no release date just yet. The search engine is called Diver, and it will be a non-biased, unfiltered, AI-powered search engine. So again, with the misinformation that's going on, I decided to do that myself because I wanted to join the fight and really have people do their research in a area to where it's very non-biased, it's unfiltered. A lot of the legacy media out there has just taken over completely, and we need that. I think that right now it's probably the most important time more than ever to have a non-biased, unfiltered search engine to where you can get the real raw truth, the real numbers on whatever you're trying to figure out, whether it be health, finance, anything. So no release date on that yet, but yeah, we're training our AI right now every day because it's machine learning, and you have to feed it information and train it in a certain way to do certain things. It's also going to be able to um, decipher what is AI and what's not. Because as AI gets more advanced every day, which is it's super incredible right now, we're going to have a problem with what is real and what is not, whether it be pictures, videos, documents. So we're going to need some type of protocol to run through things and be like, hey, this is AI generated. And I know other platforms kind of touch on it, but this will be dedicated to that as far as what's real, what's not, real information, unfiltered. And we got some other things that I can't disclose yet, but we got some tricks up our sleeve too.
No, that's fantastic. So, one of the things that I've been doing, Maverick, is I'm on a mission to empower and inspire 1 million people to learn a soft skill of communication. And what that means is, with the emergence of artificial intelligence and robots, the workforce in the next 5 years is going to be decreased. Obviously, a lot of businesses are going to automate. They're going to use automation, chat boxes, robots, or whatever. And this is a real thing. It's not coming, it's already here. And it's going to be implemented in different ways, and it's going to hurt a lot of the workforce. One of the biggest things I've championed for is for people to start learning new skill sets versus being on the sidelines complaining about it. How can you use artificial intelligence to enhance whatever it is that you're doing? And I believe that one thing it can't replicate quite, it can't replicate at all is the human tone, the human connection, the human voice, the art of storytelling. And I've been a huge champion of that for the last, 6 or 7 months as I've been going around speaking to people and getting people activated. I've had like 600 people already join the online course. For you, how important, or do you see it as an important skill set for people to enhance their communication skills? Because it's one thing to talk and just to speak, but to truly be intentional about learning how to elevate your speaking. Because even for someone like yourself, you can be leaving millions of dollars on the table if you don't know how to convey your message. Whether you're an athlete, an entertainer, a digital content creator, a news anchor, whatever it is. And that's what I've discovered and learned, even when I ran for governor. The reason why I gained so much traction so fast is just the ability to tell a story. It wasn't that I had a magic wand and had all the answers to everybody's problems. It's just that I had the ability to first actively listen to what people were, you know, having grievances over. And then I use that information to curtail a story around it and then come up with solutions that may be beneficial. So is communication and very important, like, to you? Do you see that as something that we have to really focus on moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. I think articulating yourself, having all these thoughts in your head, it's almost, useless if you can't, get it out to the world and say what you want to say in a certain way to where you connect with people. So, and if that's not even your forte, have somebody around you who can do that. Having a team to where you can articulate yourself. If you can't do it, then somebody else can do it for you, whether it be through a book, through content, through many different facets, right? So I think that as we go along, that is a overall a skill to where, with content creation, the creator economy is booming right now. It's only getting bigger. So really big one because reskilling uh, with AI, 87 million jobs will be affected and gone. It's probably being modest. But with AI and all these other digital tools, 97 million jobs will be created. And that's why you need to reskill because old jobs are leaving and new jobs are coming in. So there's going to be more jobs created, but in a different way. They have something called AI whisperers right now that pays $500,000 a year. And that's in prompt engineering. That's learning how to talk to AI. Because when you go into ChatGPT and everything else, you're, hey, create me a picture or write me a book. But there's a certain language, there's a certain way you speak to the AI to get the best results. And then you can even have an AI prompt you an engineer, like be a prompt engineer for you and speak it to other AIs. So I even have a developer that's actually on the diver team. He knows how to create AIs and then delegate to smaller AIs and report back to the bigger AI.
Hmm.
This is what we're dealing with right now. So like he'll have different tasks for the AI and say, hey, create me this. Then the AI will be like, okay, let me create 5 more versions of me, do the task faster, report back to me, and he talks to the bigger AI. So it's crazy wild stuff. So those types of skills are going to be the most important types of skills by far in this new economy. So relearning, reskilling, unlearning all this other, stuff that's pretty much useless that you learn in school. I think college is a scam. It's a waste of time. And getting into these new fields are going to be paramount.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I said, understanding those new soft skills and hard skills and this new technology is going to enhance a lot, and it's going to create a new wave of multi millionaires. People have no idea how how prosperous this era can be for this next generation, for us in the next generation. Like it's going to be like monumental, absolutely monumental in regards to what people can do with this. Um,
For sure.
think so knowing that you're talking about serious issues all the time, and I like to kind of like go off the grid with some of my guests. We talk about serious stuff all the time. I'm in a political environment, and sometimes it can get, excuse me, it can get a little stuffy. It's methodical. What do you do to unwind?
Right. I got a
Just
question.
yeah,
Would you run again? Would you run again? I want to know real quick before you ask that question. Would you run again?
it's you know what, my DMs and my text messages have been blowing up more now that Trump has won. I just had a long conversation yesterday. There is a possibility, but there is a prerequisite in regards to why I wouldn't run. But also, I have certain non-negotiables if I do run again. So that's something that's, we'll see where it
Okay.
goes. So there is a possibility, but some things do have to be in place
Right.
differently because I have learned from my past campaign. But there is a possibility.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so
Okay.
so
Nice. I
so
was just
what?
wondering.
Oh yeah. So there's a possibility. But right now, no. But I am in talks with some people to explore what that will look like this time around because there's certain things that I want to make sure that's in place. Because I felt like I should have won last time. I had a great chance to do that. But my legs were cut from up under me during that particular time. I just want to make sure I guard against that this time moving forward, if that's the case.
Got you.
So know what I was going to ask you, like, what do you do to decompress? To kind of reset, to kind of refocus and realign yourself.
To decompress, really, I love going to the movies. It's something that I'm a big movie buff. Even now I watch movies with a different lens because they do put, symbolism and stuff in the movies to kind of show you what's going on. And
Yeah,
but all in all, like, movies, working out, that's something I've always done and I love to do, staying healthy and whatnot. But that's pretty much it. Just connecting with family and having that quality time with family and whatnot. So pretty simple stuff.
yeah. No, I get it. I also want to ask you because we were talking about communication. What was your response to the message when Barack Obama was campaigning for Kamala Harris, talking to black men? Like, what was your response to that? Um, did he make the wrong assertion doing that? Because I feel like it was like a nail in the coffin to do that.
Oh, that was the worst.
Well,
That
but I
probably
want to,
ended.
but I was so surprised that 78% of black men still voted for it too, though. That was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like that number, it was only because they were probably coerced into, maybe their spouse, maybe they were voting. Because what I did was I took it to the streets, right? I did street interviews, and I was trying to get a whole feeling of like who's voting for what and whatnot and why. And I noticed a few couples that were voting for Kamala. The woman was like, "I'm voting for Kamala," especially the black women. I'm voting for Kamala. And then the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm voting for Kamala too." And it's like kind of like, well, he's kind of trapped. Like he's kind of like, "Oh, I don't want to hear her mouth. Like I gotta vote for Kamala." And I even asked him. I did a YouTube video on it, and I was like, "Well, why are you voting for her? Like, what's one of her greatest accomplishments?" He was like, I don't know. I can't even think right now." Like he had nothing at all. So that's what I feel like a lot of that might have been happening to where, their significant other may have been voting for him and they're just kind of falling in line. Or, I mean, it could be that, or it's just that they're just misinformed. And I think that, Trump is racist and all this other stuff. It's like, I have so many receipts on why Trump is not a racist. And actually, the whole Democratic Party is probably the most racist organization in politics ever. So, and then people will say, well, how can you say that? How is that realistic? Well, being that the Democrats created the KKK, that's a good start. So, I mean, a lot of people don't know that Republicans were started by anti-slavery activists in 1854. So these are all the things that people do not know. So, I mean, look up the Klan Bake in 1924 at the Democratic Convention. There's a bunch of white hooded men outside the Democratic Convention. This is documented. This is facts. These are things that people don't know. So again, with Obama, yeah, that you're right. That was the nail in the coffin. He tried to force feed something, saying that she knows our struggle. She went to college with you, grew up with you, and all this other stuff. I'm like, are you trying to shame and shame vote us into this whole thing now? Is that the tactic? Because that was a desperate attack. Like that was I'm I've never seen Obama on the ropes and so desperate. Like that was the worst thing he could have done. Because usually he's well spoken, charismatic, he wins over the people. But now it's like, well, you black men, you guys got to fall in line. It's like you're kind of speaking like a slave master right now. Like get back on the plantation type talk, and that was very offensive. That shows that you don't deem us as intelligent people, and like we don't have critical thinking to see right through that. It's like why are you trying to say, well, you guys aren't picking up the slack? Well, maybe because over the last 50, 60 years, there's no tangibles that black people historically have gotten no tangibles from the Democratic Party, and they're tired of it. So, yeah, you're definitely right. That was the worst.
When I was looking at that, I would just I was seething because I was just like, that's a horrible move. And for me, when I was speaking to other individuals that was supporting Kamala, I said that I'm not interested in supporting a career employee for the complex issues that we are facing in our nation. I'm not willing to trust a career employee. What has she created? What movement has she inspired? What has she built? Who follows her? Who follows her lead? Where is a track record of her leadership? Right. And that was the biggest thing. It
Right.
wasn't that I was a cult follower or I just love Trump. No, it's just what he represents. And you saw that just with him winning the election, what the stock market did. Its presence, its leadership, its strength is what they respect. And she, one of the perfect examples, and I laugh at every time I watch it. You remember when he was doing the tour overseas with the United Nations, and everyone, all the leaders walked on the stage, and Trump pushed the dude out of the way so he can stand in the middle. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
do.
gosh! Oh, that was the most powerful, most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, but I loved it. Like I
Yeah.
loved it, man. Like he's a perfect person for the time. It's not that he's the greatest person, but he's the perfect person for the times that we're in right now. That type of
Correct.
brand of
Correct.
leadership, and that's what a lot of people don't
Correct.
understand. And they know you can't play with him, So I love that.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? Any plans? Are you gonna be speaking anywhere? Where can people find you? Like what's next for you?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. I got the diver search engine, working on that. I do own a streaming service called Conspired TV, and it's a partnership with Look Who, which is a streaming company, and they gave me my own channel to curate content for alternative news. So I have that, so you guys can check that out on conspired.tv. That's up right now. I put up original content. I have other creators being onboarded now. So definitely excited about that and expanding that. Um, and then I actually have a blockchain real estate company as well. So crypto's going up. Over $300 billion were added since President elect has been announced. So the market's back. Even with the stock market did 1.2 trillion in the last week. So and he's not even in office yet, you guys. Like He's not even in the White House, and the market is reacting. So it's a great time for entrepreneurship and business owners. So we're definitely going to ramp up. It's called Jet Set Lux. It's a platform that's going to combine real estate with blockchain, and everything is going to be tokenized. So what that means is that everything from stocks, real estate, all real world assets are going to be represented on the blockchain. And I knew this was coming only because I've seen it, done in like other places across, overseas and whatnot. But regulation here has stifled innovation, and Trump said we're going to be the now the crypto capital of the world. So, and then pay attention to the market, follow the money. BlackRock just established their stock exchange in
In
Texas,
Texas,
which is
yep.
going to be a digital stock exchange. Yeah. And everything is going to be represented on the blockchain. So they're leading the charge on that. So I'm super excited about that. Say what you want about BlackRock, they have, their agendas and whatnot. But in that process, there's money in the middle. So you gotta get in where you fit in for sure. So definitely excited about all that. So that's what I got going on.
No, that's fantastic. Well, I plan on having certain panels here, whether it be digitally or also in person. Definitely would like to have you be a part of some of those things that we're doing as well. So I definitely, keep you informed. I'm sure Tina will um, get your information so we can definitely stay in touch. I'll send you my information also. But man, listen, thank you so much for, breaking free a little bit and come share with me and my audience today. I really appreciate it. We're going to be pushing this podcast really crazy. We just started we're what, 26 episodes in. We're trying to get to 100 before we really make the strong push. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for just kind of sharing
Okay,
your insight. And I just hope everyone follow you. Where
for
can everyone
sure.
follow you on Instagram?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. So on Instagram, it's Maverick Approach. Yeah, go to maverickapproach.com and you can find me there as well.
Now that sounds good, bro. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. This has been another major sode of the Majoravation podcast with Maverick Bailey, digital creator, entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for joining, man. We'll definitely do this again, hopefully, and then if possible, I do want to do some in person stuff as well. So I don't know what area you're in, but hopefully we can do some in person stuff as well, and just kind of sit down a little bit longer, like longer format.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Maverick.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let me know. I'm down.